Hello, good evening, good morning, Sat Sri Akal, Salam Alaikum, Namaste. My name is Dr. Tausif Malik. I'm the founder, publisher, editor of the Desi Buzz, which is a global diaspora news channel for all the Desis living across the world. And today is our first video interview. The reason we did it the first interview, because today we have a gentleman, Mr. Yogendra. He has a lot of first. So we thought, why not do the first interview with somebody who is always the first? So before we do this, I would like to welcome Mr. Yogendra. He's better known as Yogi. And the great thing is, we happen to be from the same city of Pune. Now he lives in Japan, and I live in America, so extreme places. But Japan and America is our ally. But what binds us is India, because we are the children of India. So it's a proud moment to have Mr. Yogendra. Hello, Mr. Yogendra. How are you?
Hello, Dr. Tausif. First of all, let me thank the Desi Buzz and yourself and the whole team at Desi Buzz for inviting me for this interview today. And I look forward to a very healthy discussion that would help the Indian diaspora all across the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So my first question is, Yogi ji, is just give a small background about yourself, your education, your family background, so people know with whom they're talking.
Great, great. Basically, I was born in the western part of India, around 60 kilometers from the city of Mumbai. And it was quite of a countryside in 1970s. The whole India was a countryside that time. A very natural place with paddy fields, a very small town, in fact, a village. Fortunately, so I was born there in 1977 in June, and my birthday is 3rd, so I'm a very typical Gemini, a versatile character, kind of taking interest in all sorts of things. So fortunately, in our village, we had a defense unit, and hence we had a central school, a Kendriya Vidyalaya, which is a national public school in India. And we were fortunate enough, me and my brothers and sisters, they were fortunate enough to get education in this school. So it's a quite, it's an English-based education, quite international kind of education. And this education actually formed the baseline for my whole personality. After that, we moved on to Pune, where I got educated in physics and mathematics first. And then I specialized in economics, labor economics, and international economics. And while doing that, I also studied information technology. I did my diploma in software engineering. And I also learned foreign languages while doing that. Foreign languages include Spanish, German, and Japanese. And later in the life, I also learned Chinese because I was married to a Chinese. So, and while doing that in the school and my university, I also participated in Scout and Guide, which again formed a very important piece in creating my personality. Why I am talking about all this is because so that the young students, the youngsters, they listen to this conversation. I want them to participate in all different kind of things in life with zeal and with motivation. Try everything, and nothing will be a nonsense. Everything will be useful in life. So from there, then my corporate life and everything starts. Hopefully, we'll have that conversation later. But I spent around 13, 14 years in IT, and then 10 years in pure banking. Then hardly 3 years, but very important, crucial political life in Japan. And now I work as a gazetted officer in Japan. So that is my background. Yeah.
Very interesting. So when did you actually move to Japan?
While I was learning at the university and also learning Japanese language, the Foreign Ministry of Japan, they conduct scholarship exams all across the world. And I took that exam and I was selected as the topper in 1996. And I got an opportunity as a scholarship student, I got an opportunity to come to Japan in 1997 when I was 20 years old. And then again, I got a scholarship to come to Japan in 1999, government scholarship. And then from 2001, I am in Japan as a professional.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
No, very important why we are here. You have so many firsts: the first Gazette officer, the first principal, and the first Indian origin mayor of Japan. Very proud moment for Indians, you know. And maybe you can say Desis, because recently when you look at UK,
Yeah.
Ireland is headed by an Indian,
UK, Scotland,
South Asian, then
US, Vice President.
of UK, and now Hamza Yusuf, and even because I come from America, we have Kamala Harris,
Yes.
So it's a very proud moment that South Asians are not only defining in IT but also politically. So
Exactly.
please give us your all this first, because I can't remember so many first. So you have to list it out.
Well, I think I have been very lucky through my life or my career. In the sense, you would be also surprised to know that I became a teacher in the Pune University at the age of 19, when I had not even graduated my full-time undergrad program. And then in Japan, I went on to become the first Indian origin director of a Japanese bank in the headquarters. And then the first MLA, member of Legislative Assembly in Japan. And then the first, and the MLA was not just Indian, but it was Asian. In Japan, until the moment I became an MLA, only 4 people of foreign origin had become Legislative Assembly members in Japan. I was the 5th and the first from all of Asia. So, and that was something which was a buzzing news, because Japan actually looks down on the Asian community. Because they are the most advanced country in Asia in the post-World War era, and they like look down upon the Asians. So in Japan, winning an election by an Asian was not an easy game. And when I won it, then like everybody from US, from New York Times to BBC to news channels in the Europe, in the Middle East, India, all channels, China, you won't believe, even I had my news was there in Chinese newspapers, and of course in Japan. So I was on the front page with Mr. Modi. I was on the front page with the Japanese Prime Minister. Then when exactly at the same time the Pope was visiting Japan, and we were on the same page. Half left was Pope and half right was myself. And I was also on the same page with Victoria. I think from that perspective, really lucky for myself actually to be there, kind of.
Very interesting. Now,
Yeah.
the question comes is, how did you become a politician?
Great. So life was actually quite good. I came to, as I said, like I came to Japan as a professional in 2001. And my son was born in 2002. I got married to a Chinese lady. Unfortunately, when she gave birth to our boy, we went to India for the delivery. And that was one of my wrong decisions I made, because in India, it was 2002. And India was not really so international until that moment. And my now ex-wife, she really faced a lot of difficulties from the perspective
Your voice is dropping down. Can you speak a little loud, please?
Okay. So in 2002, my wife went to India for the delivery, and India was still not an advanced country. So she really faced a lot of challenges from the perspective of infrastructure, from the perspective of language, and from the perspective of food. So after the delivery, she was very exhausted, and she left me and my kid and went back to China and never came back to us. So I took care of my son alone in Japan. I brought him up alone. So initial 3-4 years until 2005, 2006, I was I went to office, and after I came back from office, I would give my 100% of time to my son. So at home, no other things. But in 2006, I realized that there are so many people in the community in Japan who actually keep on facing similar challenges that I faced at some point of time, be it as a novice to Japan, be it a daily life in Japan, be it the professional life in Japan, or be it child rearing, bringing up the child. We are facing similar problems. And within that, the difference was that I was a very fluent speaker of Japanese. And in Japan, all the public information from the administration, from the government, from the corporates, everything is in Japanese in that period. Nothing was in English, 100% English, Japanese. So people actually, and not many Japanese language speakers from India that time. So I realized that people are facing a lot of problems. So I started a lot of social work from 2006, is that I started publishing information in English, which will be useful to the people. And then what happened is people started coming to me to ask for help, and I became a very popular volunteer in the community since 2006, 2007. And my work has been picked up by Japanese TV channels, by Japanese newspapers since 2008. So I have been totally into social work from then. And going on kind of in 2017, what happened is one of our local politicians, MLAs, he came up with an idea to set up a Little India in the town where we lived. So like in UK, you have Southampton area, or like in US, you have the New Jersey, kind of places where you have a big Indian community. In Tokyo also, there is a place called as Nishikasai, which has a big Indian community. And this MLA said, let us create a Little India here. So his idea was to set up some 40, 50 Indian shops, and then a temple and a Indian hospital kind of. So I was a banker, and I could understand if a project would be viable or not. So I saw his project and I said, your project is not financially viable, number one. And number two is your project is not socially viable, because the people in UK and the people in US, they are very open to foreigners, and they are experienced with about living with foreigners, going to overseas, spending time there, and still they have discrimination. But if you see it, compare that condition with Japan, Japanese people are really not so much accustomed with foreigners. They don't understand the lives of foreigners. They don't speak any other language than Japanese. And I think if we try to create a Little India in this kind of town, it is going to be havoc. There will be a huge amount of discrimination and problems between the Japanese and the Indian community or the Asian community, and it will lead to huge problems. So I said, we need to sit down, we need to discuss about this plan, and we need to rework on it so that it becomes a workable plan. But the MLA, and he was working with few petty Indian businessmen who were just interested in their own businesses, but not the social happiness. They said, we don't buy it, and we just want to do what we do. So I said, I'm not going to support this plan, and I will create a people movement, and I'll stop this plan. Then I went to the city mayor that time, and I went to the city planning department, and I gave them a
The voice again has, can you speak a little loud? The voice is going down.
Okay. So I visited the mayor and the city planning departments, and I gave them written applications that so and so thing is being taken up by your MLA and your and some businessmen, and we don't buy it. So the Japanese MLA, he came back to me, and he dared me of consequences. He said he will throw me out of the city. And so I said, first of all, I'm a banker and we are on record right now. So if I take your dialogue to the police, you are out of your job, first of all. Second thing, please understand that if you want to help the society, do it in the right way. Don't do it in the wrong way. And thirdly, let me tell you, I can do your job, but you cannot do my job. And that last point was very, what you can say, striking in my own mind, that these people, they don't understand what exactly we need as a society. and I decided to jump into the elections. I'm sorry for the long answer, but that
No,
was,
it's very good.
yeah, yeah,
Now coming back, how challenging was this winning the election, the campaign, and the support of the family?
right. Uh, 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 I it was really challenging because for the first time when I spoke to the people, they were like, "What?" Uh, there were two things. One is basically there was no example there for us to look at, no case study. The second thing is I was a director in a Japanese bank, having a very stable job, and my visiting card had a good weight. Means if I present my visiting card somewhere, I will draw respect, and I drew good salary. So uh, my friends and close by people, they said, we don't think you are taking the right decision. uh, this is not going to fly. And the other thing, since I was a banker, I was not allowed to run the election just like that. So I must leave my job without any
Oh,
security of winning the election, because in bank we have strong rules for governance and other thing, and being non-partisan kind of. So I have to leave the bank to run the election, and it was a very challenging and big decision. So but still I was 41 then, and I like, when I started thinking the next election would be after 4 years when I'll be 45, and if I have to lose, then I have to lose at 41 and then win at 45, rather than lose at 45 and win at 49. So that was my calculation. So I thought, even if I lose the election, I'll go for this election at the age of 41 and learn from it. And then I started talking to people and building my team. So when I first created my election office, it was only 3 people plus me, myself. And the time for election left was only 2 months.
wow.
uh, yeah. But then the good point was, when I went to the election office, election commission office. So when I stood in front of the officer over there, and I said I want to go into election, he was like, "What?" Kind of. He was shocked looking at me. Then he's asking me, "What is your nationality?" So I said, "I'm Japanese." Then he asked me, "What is your background?" So I said, "I work as a director in a Japanese bank." He suddenly stood up. He suddenly stood up from his seat. So, that is the kind of respect it draws. And then he started explaining me how the whole process works. And then he said, "Don't run for MLA election, run for a mayor election." Kind of. So I said, "No, it will be still too early. Let me first run for the MLA election, then I'll run for the mayor or governor election." So that was how the beginning was. Then he helped me with the process, how to set up a party. So I set up my own party, and I didn't go into the existing parties, but I set up my own, and then I started my campaign. And the election commission office, they really supported me through a whole process so that I don't do any mistake. In Japan, election process is very strict. If you do mistake thrice, first time they will give you a warning and they will leave you. Second time also they will give you a warning, but third time you do a mistake, you will be barred off. So it's very strict. The rules are really confined made, and you are supposed to confine to it. But election commission office, they really wanted me to run the election successfully, and they helped me out in all the documentation, the whole setup, running the show. And then as I started, people started coming in and joining me. And when I started with the election, I was not sure what is the mandate that I should show to the people, what the my goal, my plan. And honestly speaking, I just started with that Little India thing, that people don't understand the foreign society. But just that thing would not run my election. I need to have a much more 360-degree plan. So I started going to the people. I started standing at the stations and with a questionnaire, and I would go to any person randomly, irrespective of the age, gender, nationality. And I got a questionnaire filled by 300 people, uh, asking them, what are the first top 3 things you would like to change in your city? And they would write down the things, and then I put all these things into an Excel, and then I created my pivot tables and all. And then I came up with top 40 priorities, put them into the smart city framework of 6 pillars: smart economy, smart people, smart infrastructure. So I put it into a smart city framework properly. I made it a nice design, and I made it my agenda as my election campaign. And I think people really took it very overwhelmingly, that finally a different kind of politician is there. And and that probably lead to my winning of my election. Having said that, the kind of support that people gave me in putting up my posters all across the city, and we just finished putting up my posters in all the places, around 550 places, in just 2 hours. And amazing support by the people. And one interesting thing was, in Japan, if you are running a plain election, you don't need to put even single penny of yours. The whole funding comes from the government, and that was almost enough for my first election. So that was one good part of the thing. Uh, so when we went into the polling, I was actually not sure that I am going to win. And the polling day, the polling finished, and the second day was like morning, 10 o'clock was the starting of the opening of the polling results. And we had one office, campaign office kind of, and my supporters were gathered there. But they were sure, like, I'm like, every 30 minutes the result would be given out, who is leading kind of. And we were sure, like, I'm not going to, even if I'm going to win, I'm not going to win it in the first 4 phases of 30 minutes. So nobody was there in my office. But as soon as the first result came out at 10 o'clock, actually I had won the election.
Wow,
And
very
nobody
interesting.
was there in the office. I was alone. So I was actually the second person to win the election. I had gathered as the number of votes that were required to win the election. And it was an amazing buzz. No reporter there was there in my office, and within 30 minutes, you will not believe, my office was filled up with 25-30 reporters, and everybody was like queuing up there and taking my interviews, and then I was giving interview for hours. So
Very
that is how
interesting.
it happened. Yeah.
Now, now you said Little India and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What is the size of South Asian? Let's put it together. The diaspora of Indians, Pakistani, Bangladeshi, all these people there. I hear there are a
Okay.
lot of Nepalis there.
Yes, yes. If we see the South Asian diaspora in altogether in Japan, Indians put together roughly around 40,000 only. And then the Nepalis are the biggest lot with crossing 100,000. Pakistanis and Bangladeshis would be roughly similar, around maybe 20-25,000 of them. So all put together, maybe 200,000 plus or so. However, most of, like, very few of them, in few tens, are Japanese nationals who have voting rights. Rest of the people don't have voting rights.
Oh, very sad.
Yeah. So I have won the election purely on the votes from the Japanese people.
Oh, that's interesting. So it was not the
Yeah.
diaspora support, it was the local Japanese supporting you.
From the voting perspective, yes. So
Very
when I
interesting.
won the election in my constituency, only 6-7 people of non-Japanese origin who would vote for me, who could
Okay.
vote for me.
Now,
Yeah.
my other question stems out because you're a politician and everything is happening. So small, and just quick, because you have only 10 minutes left. A small,
Yeah.
quick. How do you see India-Japan relationship? Blossoming, because we have to look at, because Suzuki, the first big thing from Japan was Suzuki, and
Exactly.
how do you see India and Japanese partnership, and what you're trying to do?
Great. Great. Um, Historically, Japan and India partnership is very long. As far as the known history is concerned, India and Japan are tied up together from the 6th century. Uh, in fact, the very old Japanese temples were inaugurated by Indian priests who specially came to Japan for inaugurating the temples. and then translating the Indian scripts into Japanese, and thus propagating Buddhism in Japan. So Buddhism is the largest religion here, and hence the Japanese people live the same philosophy as Indians, is what I see. In fact, Indians has lost a lot of it in the daily life, but Japanese very strictly follow it. Now, fast forward to the 19th century, some Punjabi and Sindhi businessmen, they came to Japan on the Portuguese ships and the British ships, and some of them settled down in Japan as businessmen. And now their third, fourth generations are still living in Japan and doing good. Fast forward, end of 19th century, the IT guys started coming to Japan, and that is where the Indian diaspora actually grew to 40,000. In fact, in the late 1990s, the Indian diaspora was not even 5,000, and in last 20-30 years we have grown to 40,000. So, but still we are not growing as expected. Now, what is that is stopping India and Japan from growing this relationship? The trade also is not really great. The only thing is that in the post-World War era, Japan became an alliance of US, whereas India became an alliance of the Russia, given the geographical conditions and the historical things. From that perspective, Japan has kept a distance from India, including technology transfer and those kind of things. Only after the previous Indian Prime Minister, Mr. Bajpayee actually opened a few channels for relation with Japan, and then Mr. Modi has taken this relation to a next level. However, I still see a lot of challenges, both from the diplomacy perspective as well as from the corporate perspective, because Japanese corporates are still playing very safe from the perspective of investing in Japan, in India. Like, say, in China, there are almost 33,000 Japanese companies with almost 65,000 bases in China. Now, if you see the statistics in India we have hardly 1,450 Japanese companies with 4,500 bases all across India. So, it's a very small piece there. Even from the diplomacy perspective, while India and Japan are through the Quad and those kind of things, India and Japan are showing signs of close relationship, but it will always have limitations as far as Japan with US and India with Russia relation stays on. And I think looking at the demographics of India, India cannot farthen its relationship with Russia. So sometime I think if US, Japan, and China has to come together, I think at some point of time, US and Japan will have to accept the kind of relationship that India and Russia has. And
the final question, Mr. Yogi, we need to conclude. What is the message to the people who are aspiring to come to Japan? A quick word. And how do you see, your future career? We might see you as one of the ministers in the Japanese government, because we will be very proud to have you as a minister in the Japanese government.
Great. So I'll talk about a couple of things. First of all, about myself. So I'm now working more on education. So in future, I would like to see myself in the Ministry of Education at least. But I'm thinking to reskill myself even to become the Prime Minister of Japan. So I have started going into that thought process. Now the second thing is about those people coming to Japan. See, Japan is a very monolingual country, and it has a very closed islander kind of what you can say thought process. So people who are coming to Japan, they have to be ready with two things. First of all, one is the language. They must learn Japanese language. And number two is they must learn the soft skills that are required to draw respect in the Japanese community. Now, these soft skills will be understanding some mannerisms and etiquettes of Japan. Number one, like following time, like dressing sense, like your beard and maintenance, your personal maintenance. those kind of things. The other thing is the technical aspects while working. It could be document making, it could be the communication styles. So these kind of things have to be understood. And number three is, many people who come to Japan with the family, they most of the times just consider about themselves when coming to the family, but not about the family, like about the education of their kids, like about the career path of their spouse. I want these people to also consider well about their families, and also consider a good plan for their parents who are behind in India, because these are a few things which create a major challenge for them to live in Japan for a while. So these are a few headers, pointers for them to prepare before coming to Japan.
It was lovely talking to you, Mr. Yogi. I think we need to have another part of the interview, how people can come. I think we can schedule in next couple of weeks when you're free, second part of the
Exactly.
interview. And
Great.
that would be very interesting. Thank you so much for coming on the board and doing this wonderful interview. Thank you so much, and hope to see you as a top position, as we heard Rishi Sunak heading UK, so we can have Mr. Yogi heading Japan. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much. See you again. Yep.
Thank you.